Welcome to the Business of Apparel podcast. This is the place to learn how to start and scale your own apparel brand and fill it with loyal customers for years to come. I'm your host, Rachel Erickson, owner and CEO of Unmarked Street. I can't wait to share this episode with you. Welcome back to the Business of Apparel podcast. My name is Rachel Erickson, and I am here today with Jen Loofbourrow, who is the owning founder of Alpine Fit. And I'm super excited to have her join you guys. There's a lot that I am wanting to learn from her already as we kind of go through. So I've got a small list of questions that I'm really excited to jump in with you, Jen. But welcome.
Thanks. I'm super excited to be here. I feel like there's a lot of exciting conversation we could have based on topics I've heard you discuss in your previous episodes. So I'm very excited to be here.
Yeah, great. Well, we're super excited to have you here too. I'd love to just have you kind of get into, number one, tell us about Alpine Fit, kind of how you came up with the ideas. And then I'd love for you to really dive into, making all of your apparel in Alaska. That is something that was kind of new to me. I've been, as a contractor working with brands who are making a lot of new garments, I've been asked a lot about USA manufacturing, and this is a new one for me. So I'm really excited to learn about it.
Okay. Well, Alpine Fit, we're based in Anchorage, Alaska, and which is obviously a great testing grounds for outdoor gear. So we make what I call outdoor essentials. So we started with sort of next to skin and pieces that you can sort of use for many different favorite activities. So like a modular wardrobe for outdoor adventure. So base layers, hiking tops, bushwhacking leggings, hats, headbands, neck gaiters. And we focus on having fit options for different body shapes. So in every size, we have more than one fit option. Amazing. And so you can have more of a custom like fit off the shelf, so to speak. We work with odor-resistant fabrics, including merino wool, which is naturally odor-resistant, but a fabric that I worked with a fabric mill to develop that has silver in the fiber, which I know resonates with you, so we can probably nerd out about that a bit.
We totally could.
Yes. So yeah, odor-resistant fabric. So literally like the same garment can be worn for days on end if it's a week-long camping trip or whatever it is. And then also, of course, the domestic manufacturing piece. And we do have a small manufacturing facility that we own and operate here in Anchorage, Alaska.
Oh, wow. You own it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's amazing.
There's a lot to unpack there, but basically just these sort of kit pieces that really can allow versatility in enjoying anything you like to do for any length of time you like to do it outdoors.
Very cool. That's very cool. I think that's so smart. Just starting with like the essentials kit, something that you can wear kind of with anything else and then eventually grow into those bigger pieces.
Yeah, absolutely.
Awesome.
And I know that when I heard some of the other things you've talked about, like your travel, sort of essentials, that really resonated. So it's kind of really similar to that. And it's like you can, with our stuff, it's like you grab these two pieces or whatever few pieces from our collection. You can literally go on any outdoor travel adventure.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I think that's fantastic. I'd love for you to expand a little bit on the Ionic Plus silver that's in there. Is that something that I know you have actually a background in fabric development, right?
Yeah. So my first job out of university, I worked at Lululemon back in like 2007-ish time. So similar to you, I had this like really awesome, like early exposure to, a very exciting time in a big or soon to be really big company. Yeah. And I got to travel overseas and work with design, the design side of things. But yes, so my background is actually education in chemistry. And I did a little bit of textiles fundamentals education as part of becoming a materials developer at Lululemon.
Wow.
And I just fell in love with fiber science and nerding out about fabrics and being like the person that was the go-between with the fabric mill contacts and the design team and the technical pattern makers, and just like bringing all of
put it
those
all
sides together and, just being in there in the thick of it with like cool fabric technology. So yes, silver, for the listeners out there, silver is an amazing, oh my gosh, where to begin with silver? I don't know. Right? There's so many different,
There's so much,
things you can say. But for our purposes, what I wanted to do is focus on the antimicrobial, therefore antibacterial functionality of silver in the fiber. And there's a fiber supplier that's actually a US-based fiber supplier called Noble Biomaterials. And one of their many cool wearable technologies that they have is this special permanent technology. They call it Ionic Plus, but it is yarns with fibers that have silver in them. So again, it's not a chemical that's washed into the fabric that could wash out. It's a permanent and inherent technology in the fabric. And silver is not an environment that the odor-causing bacteria that we all have on our bodies that love to reproduce and thrive when we sweat. Silver is not an environment that can successfully thrive in. So it continually inhibits the growth of the odor-causing bacteria, therefore reducing odors on the garment and ultimately in your outdoor adventure kit and on you when you're wearing it. There's a hygiene component to it, but also definitely the benefit of not having the odors build up. So it's a cool fiber, and I'm kind of babbling here, so if you want to steer me back on track, but I knew this existed and I knew what kind of products I wanted to make. So it was a natural fit to like have my first step with this was to reach out to them directly and be like, you've never heard of me. Well, that's not true because I used to work as a materials developer a long time ago.
But it's different when you're reaching out on your own.
Yeah.
It's like,
you've never heard of my company because it doesn't exist yet. I just filed the LLC like yesterday before I emailed you. But
no, I had that exact same experience reaching out about fabrics and trims for my brand when I was starting it. You're like, I think you might remember me, but I was associated with this brand before, so I'm not quite sure. Yeah, I know exactly what you mean.
So they were like, oh, we will take you seriously, because I guess I put myself, like, I have imposter syndrome too, so I was like so ready to reach out to them. Like I was so bolstered up for like, this is it. I have to reach out to them. This is the next step. So I guess I really put that out into the world. So yeah, like I got a meeting with someone on their fabric development team, and they were going to be in Seattle for another meeting. So I literally like got on a plane from Anchorage, flew down to Seattle and met with their team.
Amazing.
Their team member that was there. Actually, two members of their team were in town, and their offices are not anywhere near Seattle. Somebody worked remote in California, and someone's in like Pennsylvania.
Wow.
So yeah, it just all worked out to have that sort of initial meeting. And then it was like, oh, and I really want to work on domestic manufacturing. So the next step is like, who in the United States is certified to work with your technologies. So that's kind of like how we got into that. But yeah, the silver in the fiber.
That's amazing. And were they already pairing it with merino wool, or is that something that you wanted to create?
So actually the silver fiber, we have a merino wool fabric and we have the silver fiber fabric. So those are actually two different fabrics.
Okay.
Silver, we could really get nerdy in chemistry here, but acidity and basicity, which, oh my gosh, I can't even speak right now.
That's okay.
Silver and wool actually don't play too well together in the same fabric.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
There are like cool developments on the horizon, and maybe they're further along now. So those are actually two different fabrics that we work with. Because I personally love merino wool. I love a natural fiber. I love, it has a natural odor resistance and so many other wonderful things about it. But in certain climates, certain conditions, and for certain people's skin or allergic reactions and things, merino wool isn't functional at all, or maybe not year round. So these are kind of two ideal fabrics for me to complete like a full year, all conditions outdoor kit of gear.
Well, that's awesome. So kind of keep going on the story where you reached out to them and asked about domestic manufacturing. Mm-hmm. Fill in the gap on how that then led to you owning the facility.
Oh, goodness. Well, let's see. So I really wanted to try to source the fabric from within the U.S. I also was aware, after checking out what fabrics were working with this Ionic Plus technology were out there. They didn't quite have the hand feel and the feel against the body that I really wanted to have in the end use product that I wanted.
Was it
So,
stretchy?
a lot of synthetics have that, the silver fiber is embedded, or it's inside basically a polyester yarn. So this fabric, I'm wearing it right now. We call it our sterling fabric, but basically it is a synthetic. It's a recycled poly base, so made from recycled plastics as the base. Then it has 7 or 8% of this Ionic Plus yarn in it. That's what gives it its performance attributes that are, lab tested, wear tested, all of that good stuff. But the fabric we ended up developing has a really not plastic-like feeling to the touch. Mm-hmm. So it's not cold to the touch in cold weather. It's not hot plastic bag-like in hot weather. It feels like that cottony feeling.
Yep. I know
like
exactly
a merino wool or like a cotton sort of touch to it. So it's very soft. It's something you can stand to put on your body in either hot or cold conditions. Feel comfortable to wear it all day. And then when you're camping, it might be all night and then again the next day.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
That was really important. So to get back to your question, I found a fabric mill that I could work with that I knew had like the reputation and the like environmental practices that I was hoping for as well, and based in the US. And then it was like, okay, you can work with this fiber, but you're only working with it with cotton fabrics presently, or some other synthetics that don't have the hand feel that I want. Let's develop. Okay, you've also never met me and never heard of me and my company just as newly existing. But can I please work with your development team to develop a new fabric?
Yeah.
I promise someday I'll order 10,000 yards.
Yes.
Will you meet our minimums? Yes. Over what time period?
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, basically I really, really put myself out there to try to like be as serious as I could. And starting with the fiber supplier was the correct path to that because I had a warm introduction. And then I also like called them and was like, yes, I'll play your game of the gigantic minimums. I will one day be a real big company. And also I really wanted to start with the right suppliers and be scalable. So I wanted to have the right building block that we're going to order a development roll or a sample yardage roll, but then we could order multiple production lots later at the same place without having to redevelop all of that stuff.
It's so smart. Yeah.
Which is like, the background you come from really is like a good strong suit to start from.
It is.
But then there's a lot that happens after that you have to fill in those gaps.
Exactly. Yeah. It's like a whole new ball game, but in the same park or something.
Yeah. It's so bizarre. And you have all these contacts. But anyway, so I got the fabric development initiated and received. Okay, so I started sewing samples in anticipation of that fabric being developed and being ready. Yeah. So I needed to obviously like do design and pattern making work, and I was like trying to do my own pattern making, and then I don't have that in my skill set. So like I had the fit options concept. So all of that was like all happening at the same time as this fabric was also being developed. Like it was all happening. And I could refine the fit of the pattern in the body, like from the bust through the hips, because I really was obsessed with having these different fit options for bust and waist and hip ratios. Yeah. And I was starting with a long sleeve shirt as my starting thing. So I was able to develop really great sleeveless top, but I just couldn't get like the shoulder to fit well because I just don't have that in my background.
It's so funny, like just to kind of divert for a second, but like armholes and shoulders are one of like the things I've spent most of my career on because they are so hard to get right. So I know exactly what you mean.
Yeah. So I was like, figure out how to get help with that. At the same time that this fabric was being delivered, I had like a home serger, like a small overlock sewing machine that I was like at least able to do a stretch knit fabric and seams on. And then I realized that I really cared a lot about I was going to care a lot about rapid product development because the fit is so important. Yeah. And I'm geographically located in Alaska, which means shipping and meeting in person with people. Like it's all going to be problematic. So, and there is a very small sewn product industry here, but it's all like heavy duty stuff for like the outdoor, like commercial fishing and like dog mushing and like extreme heavy duty, like workwear for the, the oil pipeline stuff. Like it's like not stretch knit next to skin stuff.
Yeah. Nice, soft, fuzzy. Yeah.
So I basically decided, and I knew I wanted to get a flat lock machine. So whatever, I figured out I had to buy a flat lock, which for your listeners that don't know, it's like the classic base layer or legging seam. It's 4 needles, 6 threads, extremely stretch stitch that lays completely flat. The front and the back kind of look the same-ish to somebody who might not know exactly the slight difference between the front and the back, but it's the base layer, like it's, Lululemon leggings, whatever. It's that stitch.
Yep.
That seam. So I found a refurbished one in Texas.
Oh, wow.
For a pretty okay price that I could manage with my little startup self-funded budget, and had it shipped here on a boat. Had to get it truck collected to the coast and then shipped up to Alaska on the boat. I had sent him like samples of like the early development fabrics and our threads. He did a sew off to make sure it was tuned to our fabrics and threads down at the dealer, and then sent it here, and I got it here. No, it was on its way here, and I was like, oh crap, I live in a house that has stairs no matter what way you enter this, and this is going to be like a 400-pound machine on a pallet.
Yeah. Because
they're even bigger and more, I don't know, alien looking than a regular industrial sewing machine.
Yes, they are.
So basically, I had to rent a small commercial space to get it delivered to. So it's like the fabric's coming, and I've ordered this gigantic piece of industrial equipment. There's no way I can put into, like, I could have put it in my tiny garage at our old house, but like, whatever. I was just like, no, I need like a small space. So I rented a tiny 12 by 20 foot overhead garage door unit that had no windows, and got the machine delivered there. Then the fabric arrived. And I'm just like there alone in this windowless garage thing in a business center and sewing some samples. And then it was kind of one of those things like, okay, so I do remember your question. How did that segue into, this is all still to the end point of that question. How did this segue into having my own manufacturing? So I ended up like, I'm working like crazy hours. Plus I have like 2 children and, try to spend time outdoors. So like life's very full.
Yeah.
And at this point I had already left my day job when I committed to renting the space and going to this fun little workshop space. I don't remember, let's see, the perfect storm of all of that, but basically I ended up hiring somebody to help me with some stuff because I was completely overwhelmed and working so much. Yeah. And she was like a university student that really had like that can-do attitude, like we can do anything kind of thing. And so I sewed a few pieces before she worked with me and submitted them to this like museum event that was cool. Anchorage Design Week. We're showcasing upcoming design. Like I'm really impressed or proud of myself that I actually was like, oh, me, I'm doing this thing hiding in this space. So I submitted like 6, only my sample sizes, like some women's shirts and a couple of men's shirts in only my fit model sample size. In the first fit in both of those, I didn't even have like the 2 fits refined or developed yet. In both men's and women's, we have 2 fits. And they went on a rack in the museum for this week, and some of the pieces sold. And I was like, oh, I made those myself. I was super embarrassed with the stitching. Because it was like me, like if anyone knows anything about flat lock sewing machines, they are incredibly finicky machines.
They are
There's no mechanic for flat lock sewing machines in Alaska, so it's me. And I had made the pattern myself for the women's tank tops, and I had made most of the pattern for the women's long sleeve I put in, except for I had gotten help on the shoulder seam. And I had gotten help for the men's first fit shirt from the same person. And so these handful of pieces went out, and then they sold. Not all of them, a couple of them sold. And I was like, crap, like I made those. We made them here. I was like, we can sew some stuff here. So let's sew a few more things here and see how that goes. Yeah, long story short, I was like, Christmas is coming, holiday season's happening. Maybe I could sell a few things leading up to the holidays to like get some more cash to commit to ordering like a real run of this fabric, not just our 3 colors and sample size rolls.
Yep.
And anyway, like I'm kind of skipping parts or missing some parts here, but basically we had a crazy earthquake in Anchorage that caused this one market event that was happening locally here that was like a maker's market to get rescheduled. And it meant like a few of the vendors got cancellations, and somehow I like messaged the person at the exact right time and they had cancellations because of this crazy earthquake we had. And she's like, oh, I was just trying to reach out for some future market. And she's like, we actually have space. Do you want to come? Wow. And it was like 2 weeks away. I was like, okay, we could sew a few more things. And there's never going to be a perfect time to be ready. So we'll just sew what we can. We'll sew everything we can, like as hard as we can. And I had taught Deb, my first employee, how to sew. Oh my goodness. And so we sewed like a bunch of very specific, very focused, focused energy. I had one other friend who also had a good background in sewing some stretch knit stuff, and I brought her in a few evenings because she's got like 3 kit, whatever. Like it was just like us in this windowless workshop sewing a handful of things with this deadline of having a display at this thing. And then we went there and we sold like over $1,000 worth of stuff. And I was like, goodness. Like I have a viable product. Yeah. Like that people think is cool and are motivated to buy it upon like happening upon it at a market.
Wow, so that's an amazing story.
Yeah, and I was like, and we made it here. So I guess we can make some things here.
That's so cool. That's very, very cool. Like I love how bootstrapped it is. No, it's a perfect story. I love how bootstrapped it is. Like you guys really took your own talents and exactly what you could do on your own dime and made it happen. And then the profits that you made from your products just helps you keep going, right?
Yeah. So it was like, and also just like even the confidence, because like with the imposter syndrome, I really don't, looking back on that, I cannot believe I put my stuff out for the museum and that I put my stuff out for that market. But it was kind of just like, okay, I've jumped in with 2 feet with this. Like, I guess I have to stick my neck out and get started. And so whenever I hear people say like, you just have to start, like it's true. I as much as you want it to be like A++++ work before anyone else in the world sees it, you probably should put your B+ work out there, and then you'll have a pretty good idea if you're going in the right direction to then improve it. Like advice. Yeah. I mean, when I see people wearing those shirts at that first market, like I'm so thankful and so appreciative that they bought those things. But I like look at the shoulder and I'm like, oh gosh, the shoulder still wasn't perfect back then. Yeah. And but then I still see people wearing them all the time. And then truthfully, I have one from that era that I wear still, and I'm like, oh, it actually isn't that bad. You just wanted it to be like so perfect. Yeah. Yeah. And yeah. Anyway,
as makers, we want everything to be totally top notch. But you're right. I mean, putting out just a product that you're proud of enough to get out into the market, and then continuing to evolve it and allow it to get better over time, like that is a really smart way to work. I love that.
Yeah, and people are excited to support something. I mean, it's not going to be for everybody, but there are certain people that they're really excited and proud to be a part of something at the very early days. Yeah. And they may be getting into it knowing that, well, the other thing is that there's so much good going on about it, in addition to just maybe how like the one little crease on the shoulder seams are. Like this fabric has never existed before in this shirt. There has never been this type of fabric in this type of product with a fit option for a curvier shape or a straighter shape. Right. Like for this very specific use case, like there is still so much about it that exceeds and excels beyond the things that it's technically replacing out there. Yeah. That like one little like wrinkle in the shoulder seam is like
It's not worth someone to
on
put
a
it
base
down or
layer
not buy
that
it.
most
Yeah.
often is under a raincoat or under a sweater anyway, but like
Yeah.
does stand alone as its own piece, as a hiking top. Like, I don't know, the things that you think about when you're holding yourself back from putting yourself out there. There's so much else good about it that you need to like remember that and bolster yourself up that it's so much better in all these other ways. But yes,
and clearly other people were seeing all those benefits because they wanted to buy them immediately. So that's so fantastic.
Yeah.
I'd love to pivot a little bit and ask you. So on your website, and for those of you listening, if you go to Jen's website, it's alpinefit.com. You talk a little bit about being a female role model for your daughter and also just for other women who want to be in leadership. And that resonated with me a lot because I feel the same way, you know, wanting to set a good example and teach other women what I know so that they can be leaders in their own right. And I'd love to just kind of get your thoughts on that and have you talk about that a little bit with us.
Yeah, there's a video clip on our website where I'm being interviewed, and that was kind of a fun, very overwhelming project. Title IX, which is based in California, title9.com. For your listeners, if they know or don't know, they're like a women-led outdoor clothing business. They have a catalog business, they have an online business, they have brick and mortar business, and they do a lot of stuff behind the scenes and as part of their marketing to lift up women in leadership in emerging outdoor gear companies in general. We have spent a lot of time working with them and getting connected to other women founders of outdoor businesses. And so that question I answered was like, they were asking me for that video, you know, what does your daughter think of you being a women business leader? And my answer to that was that, you know, it's normal for her. This is her normal.
Yeah.
And even when I was answering that, I don't think I realized the positive impact or how much it would resonate with people, because we put those clips onto our social media and got just tons of like comments and everything. And I was like, you know, like it's also my normal to be this.
Yeah.
That's beautiful. And it's interesting to like take a minute and reflect on that. But like so many people, I feel like it's a really wonderful time to be a woman in business. And we have to acknowledge all the hard work that has happened before to make it be a wonderful time now.
Yeah.
This industry, especially the outdoor, I mean, you're in fashion and outdoor. And I come from it from like more specifically just the outdoor. It is still so ripe with like bro culture.
100%. It has a long way to go still.
Yeah. Like just going to the trade shows and everything. Like there's a lot happening to shine the light on women product businesses, but there's still a lot of dudes running a lot of stuff.
Yes, absolutely. And it's, I mean, to speak frankly, it's one of the reasons why I think we're starting to see a lot of women founders going out and doing their own thing, because being a part of the traditional corporate culture of the outdoor apparel industry is still tough. Just talking a little bit, I mean, even what you've already said is great, but I think just speaking a little bit about how being a leader as a woman and in this space has really maybe changed you a little bit since leaving corporate outdoor apparel industry, maybe what you hope to see it lead to.
Well, the first thing that comes to mind to speak about is the fun that there is to have being a woman founder. We get to work on something we're deeply passionate about. There are others out there that are very happy to collaborate and connect with and help, you know, be the rising tide that lifts all ships. We're so remotely located here in Anchorage, Alaska, yet we have formed a really awesome small network of women-founded outdoor product businesses. So we have a group of about 14 of us between the founders and kind of the right-hand person. In my case, Jamie is left-handed, so we say
I love that.
We say the left-hand woman at Alpine Fit. But like the kind of like founder and, you know, other person on the team, we get together quarterly and share successes and challenges and plan collaborative marketing campaigns or educational sort of things together. I'm connected, thanks to the Title IX connection, every second week Zoom call with whoever can attend of some women outdoor and product gear founders.
That's amazing.
And we can share our own challenges and successes and things. So like there's a huge opportunity for community and for opportunities. Like Cassie from Wild Rye started the Women-Led Wednesday.
Yep.
There's an awesome network there of people that are working to support each other. So like I would say until I entered the space, I didn't realize all of the awesome networking opportunities and connection and collaboration and lifting up opportunities. Both of us, both the chance to find out about other women product businesses, consume their products and realize how amazing and thoughtfully designed they are.
Yeah. Yes.
And then also the chance to shine the light on them and for them to help shine the light on what we're doing. Like, it's just so overwhelmingly like positive and synergistic. And like, contrary to the experience of being like a girl who went through high school where you feel like there's a lot of competition and
Yep.
cattiness among girls and like she's got a crush on whoever, like all of that sort of stuff.
Yep.
In the adult world of outdoor business and fashion, honestly, like it is ridiculously opposite to that. It is so supportive and wonderful, and like conversations like this just happen so naturally and comfortably. It's heartwarming and life-changing to kind of have a different perspective on just like how women can have relationships with other women.
I totally agree. I think that's been one of the most refreshing things for me as well, kind of after starting my own company and starting to network more and meet people like you. And it's interesting. I talked to someone a few weeks ago. Her podcast episode is actually coming out this weekend.
Oh, cool.
And we had a similar conversation about how, like, especially in the fashion space, a lot of us get perceived almost like Miranda Priestley and The Devil Wears Prada, and we're all just like super bitchy and, you know, can't get along with anybody. But at the end of the day, everyone I've met has been so kind, so friendly, so smart, so supportive. And it's a really, really great community to be a part of.
Yeah. And listening to some of your earlier episodes, the one of you introducing yourself, your use of the word kindness repeatedly really resonated with me, because I feel like I can be the kind person that I just naturally would like to be, existing in the role that I'm in.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there's some people that think that I'm intimidating and things like that. But then if you get to know me, hopefully you understand that, like, I give people like 50,000 chances.
Yes.
Before I'm actually pissed off at them.
Yeah.
And I mean, if you cross that line, that's maybe a little bit of a different story, because it takes a lot to make me actually not want to just like, be help. Like, I don't know, kindness. It just, and it's funny like that. The film crew that came up here to film the video for Title IX, their like storyboard for the video for me was the Kill Them with Kindness badass.
I love that.
Which I loved.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, thank you.
That's very cool. That's awesome that they saw that in you.
So yeah, kindness, like we try to incorporate kindness in everything that we do, just like from customer service and the way we think about what our products are, what they're for, and how they should fit people. And just like even things that I realize from a marketing perspective, I should probably put outwardly towards customers more, but like we have the ability we offer free hemming, and we don't really have that on our website because it's kind for us to be able to adjust things because we can.
Yeah.
To the length that people need. I wish that there was an opportunity for us to like make them longer for taller women, which tall and short is definitely on the horizon for us in terms of fit options.
Very cool.
But like we do repairs, if you have a special extenuating circumstance of a request, we'll do our best to always accommodate it. But like kindness really is strung through everything we do. And then the women supporting other women businesses is just like such a fun way to extend who we want to be in this world, like to be helpful for other businesses. We're also thinking of doing like a showroom situation. We're not thinking about it. We've started at our workshop space in Anchorage. is having some other women's products that aren't readily available to purchase here. There may be online businesses or they don't have wholesale accounts here yet.
Cool.
So we have a size set of those items in our workshop here. So if someone in Anchorage wants to try on various women-owned gear products that
very cool.
are only shoppable online, but you kind of want to touch or feel them or try them on, like sports bras or whatever, we're going to have a growing list of things here that can facilitate that.
What a cool idea.
It's just like fun and just kind of comes out of all of these synergistic conversations and relationships with other product brands and the women behind them that make them.
Yeah. Well, that's amazing. I love that you're being a leader in this space and sharing that it's out there. And are you guys accepting other women into the groups?
Like our outdoor business group? Yeah. Oh yeah, absolutely. We decided to make, the Alaska outdoor product business one, we decided to have some criteria. So it was like a thoughtful, focused conversation, but absolutely like we talk about it as a group. But yes, if there's somebody who can benefit and contribute to the conversations we have, we welcome new members into the group.
That's awesome. Very cool. So if you're out there creating your own apparel line and you're a woman in the outdoor space, this could be a good opportunity for maybe you to reach out to Jen. I might reach out to Jen and see if I can join the group too. I think that would be amazing to be a part of this community. So yeah, thank you again for being a leader in the space and just and sharing that with us.
Thanks for taking time to talk about it.
Yeah. Well, this was amazing. I did want to ask you as well. Is your line also showing in Title IX stores?
We did their Pitch Fest in 2021, September, which part of that was having a big purchase order from them. So we fulfilled that last year.
Amazing.
And
congratulations.
Thank you. That was in catalogs last year in like the spring and summer months. And, this could be a whole other episode of conversation, but we're really being very thoughtful and careful about what our business model is. And I've decided to take a step back from wholesale.
I think it's smart.
So,
yeah, good for you.
We didn't really have our pricing correct for wholesale, among many other lessons you learn in hindsight. And so there are a lot of other things I think I could chat with you about.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. Like, we could probably talk about wholesale for another half an hour.
Yeah. Yes, our products have been available at Title IX. You can see this face on their Title IX website on their movers and makers section. I'm not sure if they still have any products left of ours available for purchase, but we're working on some future projects there. But yeah, in the meantime, you can find our stuff online at alpinefit.com, and we're going to do a lot of in-person pop-up events, potentially around the country. So we'll put those on our events page on our website as they're coming up. But we will be in the state of Alaska and outside of the state of Alaska a couple times this year. So maybe you can see me in person in the town, city, or event near you.
That's awesome. Very cool. Yeah, definitely keep an eye out on alpinefit.com to check out when you can meet Jen and see her line in person and try things on. That'll be great. Congratulations on everything you've been doing, Jen. I just think you are a huge inspiration, and I think you nailed it on the head when you said, just start. You kind of just have to put yourself out there, and you never know what the world will give back to you. But if you don't start, you'll never know. So
yeah, absolutely. And that's coming from someone who's terrified to who would rather hide in a corner working over there on something really cool and never tell the world about it. Just start.
I hear you. I'm kind of in the same boat, and I need to just start pushing myself to start on a couple things too. So thank you for that. Well, thank you for joining us today. It was a pleasure to have you, and I hope that we can get to know each other a little bit better over time and build this relationship.
That sounds great. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you so much for listening to the Business of Apparel podcast. I would so appreciate hearing your thoughts on the show. And if you know someone who could benefit from it, please share it with them. My biggest desire is to help other apparel professionals understand the nuances of our industry so we can all work toward making better product for a better world. If you would like to connect further, I'd love to invite you to send me a message through my website, unmarkstreet.com, where I do weekly trainings through my video channel, a monthly newsletter, and offer so many resources to help you start and scale a profitable apparel brand.